My name is Evania Bhattarai, and today I'll be talking about the teachings of the Four Noble Truths. In 563 BC, Siddhartha Gautama was born in Lumbini, Nepal to an affluent family. Hence, he enjoyed luxury and material comfort until his renounced pleasurable life in the palace to learn more about the roots of suffering. Siddhartha wondered as to why humans face suffering and how we could escape their reparations. His questioning of how to free himself from the shackles of old age and liberate our souls stemmed the doctrine of nirvana. Nirvana is described as a state of release from all sufferings. Once you have reached this level of enlightenment, you stop accumulating bad karma and earthly feelings, such as suffering, and desires vanish. Siddhartha's practices to achieve this state of emancipation became widely performed after his death. More than a religion, Buddhism became a lifestyle for his followers. Buddhists' main focus rely on finding inner peace and wisdom by enforcing morals and rejecting self-indulgence. Even more so, the concept of karma, what goes around comes around, and reincarnation, a rebirth of a soul in a new form, are key principles in Buddhism. However, on top of all the Buddhist teachings lies the Four Noble Truths. Buddha meditated for a prolonged time under the Bodhi tree to gather the four principles. The four truths are known as dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, and magga. These four concepts are the essence of Buddhist teachings, therefore hold a central place in the fulfillment of inner peace and enlightenment. The truths fundamentally revolve around suffering. The first truth of suffering, dukkha, discusses the apparent suffering which is physical. Due to human nature, we all age, and as we get older, our body brings us physical suffering, such as pain in joints and more susceptibility to illnesses. Our body grows weaker and starts to deteriorate until we eventually die. These are some inevitable sufferings that we are bound to go through. For this reason, Buddha rooted that suffering is deeply intertwined with humans. He stated that life is perfect even when many things don't pan out the way we want them to. That feeling of discontentment when something doesn't reach our expectations is another form of suffering. This brings us to the declaration that humans are subject to desires. We are always seeking relief and comfort in things that don't reside within us. We're always looking for things that provide us satisfaction, whether it be in people or materialistic things. We don't settle for what we have, but instead yearn for things that we think will provide more happiness. But the pleasure that comes from material growth is short-lived. Pleasure, according to Buddha, doesn't last long. Moreover, if it does, the constancy of it will make it ineffective. The truth is that even if we are healthy physically and mentally, we will remain feeling unfulfilled because there will always be something that keeps us from reaching our fullest happiness potential. Buddha then went on to describe the ways we can deal and end suffering. The second noble truth, the truth origin of suffering, is called samudaya. In our daily lives, we face conflicts that put us in distress. For example, getting injured while playing a sport or losing someone we love. The roots of the causes of suffering primarily stems from our desires. Desire is the real evil. There are three roots of evil. Three roots of evil: greed, ignorance, and hatred. Greedy people are always after materialistic gains, hence they fall into the gorge of wanting more constantly. Greed is represented by a rooster. Ignorant people will be in disbelief that material things won't bring them happiness. Ignorance is represented by a pig. People tend to get jealous of others' achievements, especially when they see somebody else gaining all the things that they want. Hatred consumes them from the inside. Hatred is represented by a snake. However, another desire that can bring us joy is chanda. This is the desire for enlightenment and knowledge. The opposite of this would be tanha, which is an evil desire. Buddha in his fire sermon spoke to 1,000 monks and emphasized upon the causes of suffering, one of them which was recurring thoughts, or also known as obsessions. The third noble truth, cessation of suffering, is Nirodha. Nirodha deals with putting an end to suffering. Buddha believed that one can be liberated from his or her desires. To relinquish these desires, nirvana comes in. As we discussed earlier, nirvana is the state of enlightenment that you will reach once you have conquered the three evils: greed, ignorance, and hate. Nirvana is a state where a person does not feel any sort of negative desires or thoughts. Instead, they feel spiritual joy. Buddha urged people to not anticipate what happens after nirvana and to instead live in the present moment. The fourth noble truth, the path of cessation of suffering, is called Magga. Magga is a set of principles that will assist in the relinquishment of suffering. There are 8 steps that are intertwined with one another that will help reach the person's intention. These 8 steps are known as the Eightfold Path. The first step in this path is understanding. Samadhi is carefully understanding scriptures and following his teachings. The next step to help conquer suffering is intention. A person's intention should be positive and furthermore should be committed to learning more. A person's attitude towards learning also plays an important role in his journey to end suffering. This is known as Sama Sankappa. When a person speaks, he or she should make sure that they are speaking the truth and providing a good reflection of their character. Action is known as Sama Kamata. A person should intact, peaceful, and harmonious relationships with all. Furthermore, one should not destroy the livelihood of animals or others for personal gain. An effort is called Samavayama. This is a practice that helps avoid negative thoughts clouding your mind. Mindfulness is the awareness of everything that has happened to him or her. This is called Samasati. To concentrate, a person should stay aware and focus to stay on the right path. This is called Samasamadhi. These 8 practices work together to achieve enlightenment and guide the path to the cessation of suffering. By leaving the comfort of his home, Siddhartha Gautama founded a religion on the understanding of suffering. While at times we may want to disagree with his stance on suffering, we realize that he is right when we come to look around at all the faults in our personal lives. These truths apply to Buddhists and to all who are in search of inner satisfaction and peace. Therefore, we should try our best to abide by the 4 noble truths to completely dismantle our sufferings. Thank you.